Just picking up where the last video left off, I only get 10 minutes of recording time, and I do like to waffle, as you've probably noticed. So on here, we've got basically things that people say to other people. And, I see this myself when I go online. When I'm looking for anything, I could be on Twitter or on my own personal Facebook account, or just reading websites of interest, and you see the comments at the bottom of those websites, and there is a lot of this stuff goes on online that our young people are exposed to. Now, it doesn't mean that they're actually doing this stuff themselves, but they are seeing some of these comments that people are making. So it's making sure that our students are responsible and mature enough to deal with those types of comments, and to understand that they don't have to accept those values or make the same kinds of comments themselves. Children can quite easily come across inappropriate things on the internet, accidentally, while looking for something else. As I've just mentioned, I notice this myself when I'm online. You'll often come across stuff that is nothing to do with what you're searching for, or an article that you're reading might have links at the bottom or advertisements which aren't appropriate and aren't things that you necessarily want to be exposed to. And that will happen to our young people while they're online. They will come across stuff that's inappropriate, and they'll do that completely unintentionally. And again, it's about education and making sure that they're mature enough to deal with that, and that they know they don't have to click on those links, they don't have to click on those adverts, they don't have to take notice of them, that they can leave the page. It really is just about making sure that they're responsible in their use, and they're aware that they will come across things like this if they're using the internet, and they know how to deal with that. And there's very little that we can do to stop that from happening as teachers and also as parents. We can put filters in place, but there's always going to be some stuff that gets through those filters, particularly at home, where the filters are likely to be less effective than what we have in school. This I thought was an interesting one. Do you ever take your internet-enabled device to bed with you at night? And you can see that 81% of our students do, which means that they have access to all of the things that we've been talking about, potentially coming across inappropriate material, potentially communicating with people that they don't know while they're in bed at night. I would assume unsupervised there. And that's not to say that you shouldn't allow them to take those devices to bed. But again, it's just making you aware that this is the situation with the vast majority of our young people. It says here which devices they tend to take to bed with them on a night. And a smartphone is overwhelmingly the one that they're taking to bed. And, I suspect they've got it on charge by their bedside overnight. And they will be using that device while they're in bed. This is what they say they are using the devices for at night. So YouTube, I know you cannot read all of these all the way through, but YouTube or watching films is a popular one. Talking to friends is something that they're doing. Playing games. And then some students are reading. Some people are playing games with others. Some have written other there, which you can get access to those comments if you want to through the Esafety section on Frog. And some are using it to do their homework. So there's a mix there of stuff which is responsible use, and there's inevitably things like chatting to friends and watching films, which again may not be a bad thing, and it may be completely innocent, but it's just being aware that this is what people are doing. Do you sometimes think you're addicted to the internet? Well, 50% of our students said yes. So really it's for us to help them with that and make sure that they are responsible about how much time they spend online, and that they're not spending too much time. As an ICT teacher, I'm all for students using the internet for schoolwork, for research, and the great benefits that it brings. But I think it's also really important that they understand that there are other things that they can do besides using the internet. And this just illustrates the fact that perhaps some of our young people can come to rely on the internet and use it too much, when they could perhaps cut that time down and use that time more productively for other things. Are students concerned about keeping their details private online? 66% of them, yes. And the good news is, if you look at this, do you know how to change your privacy settings? 90% of them say that they do. So we've got a little bit of work to do with a small percentage who say that they don't know. And we'll revisit that in assemblies. But, on the whole, students seem to be getting the message that it's important to keep their details private, and they know how to do that. So that's some information from that survey, and I hope that that's useful. And it just gets you thinking about online habits. What I'd also just like to bring your attention to while I'm recording this video is the Esafety section that we've got on Frog. If you click on this, you'll get far more information than this survey. You'll be able to access the full results of the survey. You can see what the main dangers are for our young people online. There's advice on what we can do, which comes both from the school but also from studies which have been carried out outside of the school. There are a ton of videos on here. You might particularly be interested in the parental guides here that we've posted from the BBC, which talk all about things like chat rooms to social networks to online gaming and what you can do to help protect your son or daughter, how to use safe search settings at home, what sort of dangers exist, cyberbullying and phishing scams and things like that. As we go along the top of the page here, every time we run a parents in partnership meeting on Esafety, we publish the slides and the video resources from that on here, so you can see all of the different resources that we've used if you've not been able to attend those meetings. We've got a copy of the acceptable use policy that students sign and have to adhere to when they're using technology inside of school. And we've also got links to useful software that you might want to look at, and links to websites which are really, really high quality and give you far more advice than we've got on here on Esafety and how to protect students and how to have conversations with your son or daughter about what they do online. So we're adding to this all the time, and we're just in the process of updating this again. So please take some time to have a look at that and see what sorts of resources we have on there. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video. I realise it's a long 2 videos there, but hopefully you found it informative and useful.